Hello and welcome to News Central TV. Now here are some stories making news beyond the continent. My name is Mazino Appeal. Now we begin in the North America, where U.S. President Donald Trump has unveiled one of the most ambitious military projects of his administration, a state-of-the-art missile defense system called the Golden Dome. Now the president says it will defend America from missile threats from land, sea, space, and even space itself. The announcement has drawn global attention and alarm. Our correspondent Afia Hagen here has more.
A bold new vision for America's national security. President Donald Trump has announced a sweeping plan to build a high-tech missile defense system, the Golden Dome, aimed at protecting the United States from evolving threats across the globe. Speaking from the White House, Trump said the system will use land, sea and space-based interceptors and sensors and will be operational within 3 years.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors.
The project has been given an initial $25 billion in funding, with a projected total cost of $175 billion. But some estimates put the real cost at over $500 billion across 2 decades. The Golden Dome draws its name and inspiration from Israel's Iron Dome, though Trump's version aims to cover much larger and more complex threats, including hypersonic missiles and nuclear warheads. And it's already triggering backlash. Russia and China have condemned the move as destabilizing, warning it could turn space into a battlefield. At the announcement, Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth said the shield will protect against everything, from drones to intercontinental ballistic missiles. The US has gained real-world experience with missile defense, from protecting Ukraine against Russian attacks to supporting Israel against Iranian strikes. Whilst President Trump insists the Golden Dome will secure America's future, critics warn it could escalate a new arms race, one that stretches from Earth to space. With global tensions already high, the world will be watching closely as this controversial project moves from blueprint to battlefield reality. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen.
Meanwhile, U.S. Congresswoman Maxine Waters has accused Republicans of fear towards Donald Trump's push for the big, beautiful bill. The Congresswoman made the remark during a House Rules Committee meeting in the early hours of Wednesday. She criticized Republicans for allegedly ignoring concerns over the proposed tax bill, accusing them of prioritizing party loyalty over the well-being of American families. The bill proposed extending 2017 tax cuts, introducing new tax breaks, and funding immigration enforcement, while cutting programs like Medicaid and food assistance. Despite internal divisions within the Grand Old Party, President Trump has been actively pushing for the bill's passage, urging Republicans to unite behind it.
Republicans couldn't care less about how bad this bill is. They're going to sit here and ignore every single thing that I and my Democratic colleagues have to say about this bill and how it will harm hard-working American families. And it's all because they are afraid of Donald Trump. They're so afraid of Donald Trump that they will gladly allow the American people to serve as collateral damage to the $5 trillion handout, $5 trillion handout to billionaires in this bill. They're so afraid of Donald Trump that they're okay with him getting richer while their constituents are getting poor. This isn't hyperbole. This is real life. This bill cuts programs that will literally make American families poor and make Donald Trump and his billionaire donors richer.
Eric Trump attended a groundbreaking ceremony Wednesday for a $1.5 billion Trump Organization luxury resort and golf course in Vietnam. The development, located in Hong Nguyen province near Hanoi, is a partnership with Vietnam's Kinh Bach City Development Corporation. Eric, joined by his wife Lara, was met with tight security at the event. The site will include a 54-hole golf course and upscale villas. Hundreds of local farmers looked on from nearby dikes, many of them recently displaced by the project. Farmers expressed concerns about losing work despite receiving land compensation. The development has reignited concerns about President Trump's business interests and possible conflicts of interest while in office.
Bác nghe thấy bà thế thôi, bác chỉ nghe thế, thấy bà thế chứ còn nếu mà bố con ông mà về mà làm cho Hưng Yên đổi mới thì các bác mừng quá. Người nông dân các bác bây giờ chỉ mong là tăng giá được càng cao thì càng tốt. Người nông dân mình mà. Còn bây giờ người ta về người ta làm thì mình mừng. Nhưng mà lại nhân dân thì chả có cái việc gì để mà làm. Khi mỗi người có một xào đất thì bán hết cho người ta rồi gì công việc đâu để mà làm, không biết làm bằng cái gì đấy. Cũng chỉ mong muốn là ông về đây ông ấy làm cho gọi là cho tỉnh này đổi mới này, nhân dân này thì gọi là được nhờ này, nhưng mà cũng mong là ông mà sắp xếp cho các bác mà công việc mà được làm cái gì đấy thì.
The EU's top diplomat Kaja Kallas has Wednesday, or rather on Wednesday, said that it was unacceptable the Israeli army fired shots near a diplomatic delegation, including European officials. The Israel's foreign ministry said in a statement on social media that the group was visiting a refugee camp in the Palestinian city of Jenin, but deviated from an approved route and entered an area where they were not authorized to be, after which Israeli troops fired warning shots to scare them away. Kallas said in a press conference that any threats on diplomats' lives are unacceptable, adding warning shots were still shots, and those responsible should be held accountable.
We definitely call on Israel to investigate this incident and also hold these accountable who are responsible for this, and any threats on diplomats' lives are unacceptable. As Israel is also a signatory to Vienna Convention, has the right, the obligation to guarantee the security of all foreign diplomats.
Joining us now is Global Affairs Analyst Ejike Okpa. He joins us from Dallas in Texas. Ejike, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us once again this evening.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great. Now, Ejike, the crisis in the Gaza Strip is getting more extreme. How can it be urgently addressed, do you think?
Everybody's making an effort. I think the Pope, the newly installed Pope, has made comment about the humanitarian efforts and sending food and medicine to those who need it. Trump in his recent Middle East, made comments. The UK Foreign Secretary also jumped in, and everybody's really saddened by what is going on in the Middle East. But Israel somehow has been very defiant, doing what in the diplomatic circle they are not expected to do, but they do it anyway because they have the means to do it, and they have taken this high road that we're going to ignore you because Israel has the right to defend itself. But at the same time, are they not thinking that other people have the right to defend themselves? So until the two parties, who have lived, side by side, especially the Israelis who moved in that region in 1948, because America enabled the creation of the state of Israel, they have, remained resolute, to ignore whatever the UN is saying. The only country that can make Israel come to terms with what they're doing is US. And, US is playing that I'll give you arm, I'll give you food kind of thing. And then Israel themselves have been able to domestically develop their own weapon system. So they are able to even fight if America don't give them anything. So hopefully the pressure from the world will, come to put some pressure on, the Israeli Prime Minister and his leadership, and then maybe we see some ceasefire and some hope of some peaceful coexistence.
So let's talk about sides now. Global response to the conflict has been polarizing world powers, to say the least. The consequence is that it weakens a common response to the conflict. How do you weigh in on that?
Well, the globe is the globe. Remember, we are in a global village, but we still have, individual countries, and every country, by their sovereign right, is entitled to do whatever they think necessary to do to defend themselves. So Israel, again, is part of this global village, but Israel, again, is defiant. And so the world is going to have to find ways to, again, come to terms and hopefully whatever that is they come to terms with is going to help bring, some resolution to this conflict. Remember when it started, he thought it was going to be a matter of months. Now we are in the third year of this conflict and nobody has an idea when it's going to end. Trump himself, he has his hands full, domestic issues, global issues, but hey, he's not the president of the world. He just happens to have the biggest microphone. Sometimes what he says is ignorant. Sometimes what he says makes sense. But hey, he's got to come home to America and deal with what we Americans want to deal with. And so it's more like to your tent, O Israel, which means, wherever you are, fight for your own relevance. And that relevance has to be you to defend your country and make sure that even if your neighbor don't like you or you don't like your neighbor, develop a culture to accommodate and tolerate them.
So you tend to Israel except America. If you were to remove Donald Trump or America from the equation here, how do you think the situation would be in Gaza?
Oh my goodness! I mean, because it's not like you have poured more gasoline on a fire that is already raging. But that's is possible, but it's very highly improbable. Because America is going to be somehow involved. The extent of their involvement, is going to be determined by what the Oval Office people want to do and the president's personal and particular interest in that region. Obviously, there'll be some tension that Trump is not siding with Israel or giving Netanyahu, the relevant attention that he's enjoyed. So, maybe that is what is angering Netanyahu because, he wasn't even invited, when Trump was in the Middle East. He has been ignored. And, again, when you look at ego is a big issue in some of these world leaders. And Netanyahu, who has been having challenges domestically because he was facing some corruption issues, has seized this opportunity to do what he does. Until this is resolved, that corruption charges ain't going to go anywhere.
Well, Educate, thank you very much for joining us once again to give us your expert opinion on these matters. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now let's go on a break. When we get back, more news from beyond the continent. Welcome back. Now, dozens gathered outside a Mexico City funeral home chanting justice during a vigil for 2 aides to mayoral candidate Clara Brugada, who were shot dead during rush hour. Now, Ximena Guzman, Brugada's personal secretary, and advisor Jose Pepe Munoz were killed in what Brugada described as a direct attack. The killings have sent shockwaves through Mexico's political scene. Brugada, a leading political figure, attended the service alongside mourners demanding answers.
Y todos venimos en apoyo a la familia, al dolor familiar, y conocíamos al compañero. El compañero nació y creció dentro del movimiento social. Era un ser humano muy humano. Y venimos a acompañar a la familia, pero también venimos a pedir que haya castigo para las personas que lo asesinaron y para los que mandaron a asesinarlos. Pues sentimos que lo que están haciendo es para meterle miedo a la comunidad, ¿no? Más que un asesinato a compañeros buenos, ¿no? Es para infundir el miedo a la comunidad. Eso es lo que sentimos.
¿Verdad? Pues estamos muy tristes porque para nosotros fueron como unos hermanos. ¿Por qué? Porque trabajamos todo el tiempo juntos sin ningún interés. Simplemente trabajamos.
Around 700 animals were relocated on Tuesday from a wildlife sanctuary in Sinaloa, Mexico, to a safer coastal ranch due to escalating cartel violence. Elephants, tigers, lions, crocodiles, and exotic birds were moved from the Ostok sanctuary near Xilacán an area gripped with bloody conflicts between Sinaloa cartel factions. Sanctuary Director Ernesto Zezueta cited ongoing threats, theft and extortion, saying the safety of his team and animals was at risk.
Temas de extorsión, temas de amenazas, muchas cosas que no quiero llegar a fondo, pero sí los hemos sufrido y es parte de por lo que nos cambiamos por el momento de ubicación. Pues nos robaron la camioneta en la que rescatamos los animales con todo el equipo para rescate, tenemos rifles, tenemos muchas cosas, nos la robaron. También los animales empezaron a ver afectados de salud porque no podíamos llegar con alimento, porque había bloqueos muchas veces, se cerraba la carretera o simplemente donde con nuestros proveedores no.
In South America, thousands gathered in Montevideo for the 30th annual March of Silence, demanding truth and justice for the 200 people who disappeared during Uruguay's military dictatorship from 1973 to 1985. The demonstration, marked by a solemn and powerful atmosphere, urged citizens to confront the past and break the silence surrounding the regime's human rights violations. This year's march held particular significance, coming just days after the death of former President José Pepe Mujica. Mujica, a former guerrilla leader, was imprisoned and tortured for over a decade under the dictatorship. Now, his passing has reignited national reflection on the enduring impact of state repression and the ongoing quest for accountability in Uruguay's democracy.
Bueno, son 30 marchas, esta es la número 30, por eso la consigna de este año es 30 veces nunca más, sepan cumplir y dónde están. El sepan cumplir es porque el actual gobierno en su programa se comprometió a avanzar en el tema de la búsqueda de los desaparecidos. Y su lema era sabremos cumplir. Le tomamos la palabra y les pedimos que sepan cumplir como se comprometieron ante la ciudadanía.
Finally, on Beyond the Continent, Poland has revealed the result of a joint exhumation mission in Ukraine, uncovering the remains of 42 individuals from a mass grave in the village of Puzniki, located in the Ternopil region. The site is associated with a 1945 massacre during World War II, where Polish civilians were killed. The exhumation was led by a team of Polish and Ukrainian experts, including forensics genetics specialists Andrzej Oselski. Oselski stated that identification work is underway and their identities will be discovered in the coming months.
Identyfikacyjne trwają, one się rozpoczęły 12 maja po powrocie zespołu. Rozpoczęły się analizy genetyczne. Nadaliśmy 42 numery ofiarom, które odnaleźliśmy w grobie. Do najbliższych miesiącach będziemy poznawać tożsamość.
And that's all on Beyond the Continent this evening. Now, do remember that you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screens now. Follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV, and you may also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 23, or rather Star Times channel 273, Go TV channel 23, and of course Able TV and on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.